My name is Lauren Marin. I was 20 when I came home from a 12-hour shift and discovered my car was gone. Not towed, not stolen, just gone. The keys weren't where I always left them, in the ceramic bowl by the kitchen sink. The driveway was bare, the patch of oil on the concrete exposed like a missing tooth. The evening air was heavy with humidity, but my palms were colder than they should have been. I stood there for a while, half expecting it to be a misunderstanding, that maybe my dad had moved it to get something from the garage, that maybe my mom had borrowed it to run to the store, that maybe I'd parked it wrong and forgotten. But I knew better. That car was the one thing I owned outright. My name on the title, bought in cash with savings from 2 years of weekend shifts at the bookstore, late nights at the diner, and the tutoring jobs nobody else wanted. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. A silver 2007 Civic with a cracked speaker and a dent in the back bumper I never fixed because it didn't matter. It ran. It got me to work. And it was supposed to take me to night school in the fall. I stepped inside. My mom was stirring something at the stove. She didn't look up. "Hey, sweetheart," she said like it was any other Thursday. "Can you come sit down for a second?" I didn't ask. I just followed her voice into the kitchen. My father was already seated, hands folded over his phone. There was no urgency in the room, no panic, just that thick, artificial calm people wear when they've made a decision they can't undo. "We didn't want to do it without telling you," my mom said, "but we had to act quickly." My dad cleared his throat. "It was an emergency, Lore. Uncle Ray, he's in the hospital. Some kind of intestinal thing. They needed to cover the cost up front. We didn't have enough in the account." My mouth opened, but no words came. I hadn't seen Uncle Ray in over a year. He lived 3 states away. He wasn't close. He wasn't dying. He was convenient. "You sold my car?" I finally said. My mom winced. "We called around, found someone who gave us a decent offer. It's not like you were using it for anything essential. You're still working at the cafe, right? That's walking distance." I looked at her then, really looked. There was no apology in her eyes, just expectation. That I'd be the reasonable one, the mature one, the good daughter. "So you sold it," I repeated. "For family," she said, as if that justified it. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just nodded and said I understood. Then I went upstairs, locked my door, and sat on the edge of my bed for 3 hours without moving. The next morning, I took the bus. I stood next to a man in a rumpled shirt who smelled like gasoline and an elderly woman who fell asleep on my shoulder. I watched my old Civic pass by in the opposite lane, a new driver behind the wheel, the air freshener still swinging from the rearview mirror. I recognized the dent, the sticker on the bumper, the slight misalignment in the headlights. That was supposed to be my ride to college. My link to the night classes I'd already enrolled in, the life I was scraping toward. Now I sat on public transport with a bag full of coffee-stained uniforms and a wallet $10 short of rent. I didn't tell anyone, not my manager, not my co-workers, not the girl in class who'd been giving me rides on Thursdays. I just adjusted, like I always did. 3 days later, I found the envelope on the kitchen counter. No return address, no receipt. Inside, a bill from Jefferson State College. Student, Daniel Marin. Amount, $5,848. Status, paid in full. The date on the payment was the same day my car disappeared. I kept the envelope, not because I needed proof, because I wanted to remember the date, burn it into my memory like an expiration stamp. The tuition payment had gone through at 10:17 a.m. At 10:42 a.m., my car was transferred to a used lot 3 miles off Route 8. It showed up on their site that afternoon, listed as a lightly used commuter vehicle in excellent mechanical condition. I knew because I checked, repeatedly. I didn't confront them. I didn't ask questions they'd answer with more lies. Instead, I watched, listened, waited. 3 nights later, my brother came home with a new laptop bag, branded, embroidered with the Jefferson State logo. He tossed it on the couch and cracked a soda like someone who'd won something. My parents watched him with that glint they never gave me, pride disguised as relief. He dropped into the chair across from them and said, "They finally unblocked my student portal. They cleared the balance." My father clapped his shoulder. My mother smiled, just for him. I stood at the hallway edge, silent, invisible. "We knew you could do it," my mom said. "We just had to make a few sacrifices." "Lauren's managing fine," Dad added. "She always does." No one looked in my direction. That night I took my bus card out of my wallet and laid it on my desk beside the Jefferson State payment confirmation. Side by side, the ride they took from me to fund his second chance. It wasn't that I didn't want him to succeed. It was that they decided, without hesitation, that his future mattered more than mine. That my years working double shifts and saving coins in a jar were disposable, that I could be gutted for parts. I still showed up to work on time, still finished every class assignment from my night courses, even when I had to walk to the library because my ride bailed. I borrowed bikes. I begged coworkers for shifts close to home. I gave up everything that cost gas. But I also started applying for remote work, online tutoring, basic content writing, then data entry. By the end of the semester, I was making $250 a week after hours, more than what I made folding napkins at the cafe. I didn't tell anyone, because this time, the life I was building wouldn't have a driveway for them to raid. Spring came fast. My brother passed all his classes with C's and 1A he bragged about for 2 weeks straight. My mother baked a cake. My father toasted him with cheap champagne from the grocery store. Me? I was in the back room uploading lesson plans and processing invoices. Then came the next request. "Lauren," my mom said one morning, "I know you're saving for another car, but your brother needs something reliable to get to campus. Maybe you two could go in on one together." She said it with a smile, like it was a fair ask, like my past was forgettable. I looked her dead in the eye. "I already gave him my car. You just didn't ask first." Her smile cracked. She opened her mouth, closed it, then said nothing. I walked out before she could speak again. I took the bus that morning, just like every day. But something in me had changed. I was done being borrowed, done being reallocated. From that day on, everything I built would be under a name only I controlled. And one day, they'd need something from me again, and I'd be ready. The next phase of my life didn't start with a big break. It started with tired eyes, unstable Wi-Fi, and $42 left after rent. I was 21, no car, no savings, 2 jobs, but I had a refurbished laptop and a stubborn kind of hunger that didn't ask for applause. I signed up for everything I could find: freelance platforms, online surveys, data labeling, remote tutoring. I taught middle school math to kids in other time zones, fixed broken grammar for clients who didn't know my name, formatted spreadsheets while my parents watched game shows downstairs. They thought I was stuck, but I was scaffolding. At first, the money was modest, a few $100s a month. Then I streamlined, specialized, built templates, designed a course of my own. Digital skills for first-gen students. I priced it at $19, sold $30 in the first week. I reinvested every cent. Not into luxury, not into comfort, into leverage. Meanwhile, my brother dropped out. Again. After everything, after the sacrifice, after the car and the money and the second chance. He said the coursework was too theoretical, that he'd figure things out eventually. My parents didn't scold him. They told him to take a break, that maybe college wasn't for everyone. That line sounded familiar. I didn't offer judgment. I didn't say a word. Because by then, I had already filed the paperwork for my LLC. The company was lean, simple, built around a platform I developed, Bridgeworks, an edtech resource for adult learners, dropouts, and displaced students who still wanted a shot. I didn't brand it with my name. I wasn't building it for recognition. I was building it to keep the door open for people who'd had theirs slammed shut, people like me. I launched a pilot program in a city that looked like mine, offered scholarships to applicants who couldn't afford the entry fee. 5 spots, 87 applied. We funded all of them. Quietly, anonymously. That same month, my brother submitted an application through our open portal. He listed a false hardship reason, said he'd been abandoned by family, had no car, no support system. He had no idea I was the reviewer. I read it twice, then marked it as approved. The funding went through. He got his second chance, and I didn't say a word. My parents celebrated his comeback with a barbecue, told friends how proud they were that he never gave up. I brought pasta salad and kept my mouth shut, because they hadn't seen the balance sheet, or the server load on the back end, or the 12-part grant series I'd written that week. They were still looking for success in their son, and I was already distributing it to strangers in 6 countries. I didn't want revenge. I wanted receipts, and I was collecting them, one download, one grant, one broken narrative at a time. By the time I turned 24, my name still wasn't on anything public. No press releases, no interviews, no TEDx talks. But my influence was everywhere. Bridgeworks had quietly grown from a PDF resource hub into a full edtech ecosystem. We launched interactive tools, modular courses, mentorship pairings. Our tagline was simple: education isn't late. You were just early for the wrong door. We didn't go viral. We didn't need to. Because the people who found us weren't looking to be impressed. They were looking to not be forgotten. I created a fund under a shell foundation, Marin Initiative. No photo, no bio, no family name, just anonymous capital available to adult learners trying to finish degrees after life had interrupted them. We had a rule: no essays about trauma, no performances of worth. If you asked for help and met the baseline, you got it. That was it. No begging, no sacrifice, just strategy. My brother's second run at school was smoother. He passed his courses, landed a student mentor gig, started calling himself a comeback story. He never knew I was the one who made it possible, never once asked where the grant came from. That silence told me everything. He didn't care who paid, just that someone did. My parents sent me a text the day his cap and gown arrived. He's so excited. We're planning something special for his big day. Hope you'll be there? They attached a photo. My old Civic was in the background. The new owner had painted it black, but the dent on the rear panel was still there. My mom captioned it, "Look familiar?" I stared at it for a long time, then deleted the message. A week later, my brother submitted a thank you letter through our anonymous scholarship portal. It was mandatory for reporting. He wrote, "To whoever gave me this chance, thank you. You didn't just change my future. You gave me one." It was the first time I felt something close to emotion. Not warmth, not pride, just clarity. He had no idea what had been taken to fund his success. And I had no intention of ever telling him, because the lesson wasn't for him, it was for me. They stole my car. I built the road. The voicemail came on a Tuesday. My parents still called from the house phone, landline static, faint hum in the background, like the house itself had something to say. "Hey, sweetheart," my mother's voice chirped. "Your brother's graduation is next month. Big day for him. We were thinking, maybe you could drive us. He doesn't know we're planning anything, so it'll be a surprise. Let me know what works for you." Click. No mention of the car. No mention of the one they took. Just a casual request. Like it was still my job to make things easier. Like I owed them the ride. I didn't respond right away. Instead, I opened my calendar and scrolled to the date. It was already marked. Crestview Hall, 2 p.m., honorary ceremony. The irony settled over me like fog. Same university, same day. 2 ceremonies, one for the golden boy, one for the ghost they rewrote. 2 months earlier, I'd received the letter from Crestview's board. They'd followed Bridgeworks, tracked our metrics, spoke to recipients of our second chance grants. One woman, 34, single mother of 3, had credited our program with getting her out of a motel and into a teaching certificate. Crestview called me a quiet architect of opportunity. They offered me an honorary doctorate in education, no tuition required. Just show up, deliver 10 minutes of insight, accept the regalia, and take the podium they once believed I'd never stand behind. I returned the call that night. My mom picked up on the second ring. "We were just talking about you," she laughed. "Danny's so excited. He doesn't want to make a big deal, but—" "I can't drive you," I said. "Oh," she replied. "Work conflict?" "Number, I'll be at Crestview that day." "Oh, perfect. We'll meet you there. Maybe we can walk in together." Silence on my end. Then, "I'll be speaking." "At the honorary ceremony." Pause. "Honorary what?" "Doctorate, education." She went quiet again, long enough for me to hear my father mutter something in the background. "You're speaking at the university?" "Yes." "For Danny's graduation?" "No." "Then why?" "Because while you were funding his tuition with my car," I said, "I was funding hundreds of others with my work." I didn't wait for the response. I just ended the call. Some debts can't be repaid, but they can be rendered irrelevant. Crestview's honorary ceremony wasn't held in the same auditorium as undergrad commencement. It was held in the Alumni Rotunda, a domed marble hall with long windows and faculty portraits circling the ceiling, reserved for donors, board members, and people the university wanted to show off. The invitation arrived in a navy blue envelope with gold trim. Inside, the card was embossed with my name, Dr. Lauren Marin, Honorary, Commencement Speaker, School of Continuing Education, June 12th, 2 p.m. Crestview Rotunda. No one else at the house ever saw it. I kept it sealed until the night before, when I packed it in my bag next to my speech. No backup copies, just one folded page. Clean, sharp, final. The morning of the event, I left early, wore slate gray, tied my hair back, no earrings, no family heirlooms, no borrowed sentiment. Only one accessory, a key fob to the car I bought with my own money. Not a Civic, something quieter, sleek, paid for in cash, registered in my name. The kind of car that didn't just get you places, it got you out. At 10 a.m., my parents attended my brother's graduation across campus. He texted me at 10:32. "You made it? Ceremony's almost over." I didn't respond. At 11:10, my mom sent a photo. The 3 of them smiling in front of a stage. My brother in cap and gown. Her caption, "So proud of him. See you soon." She didn't know I was already walking toward a different entrance, a different stage, a different spotlight. The rotunda was already filling, faculty in robes, guests in formal wear, a group of scholarship recipients, some of them funded through Bridgeworks, stood by the back wall, waiting to shake my hand after. I walked past the names etched into the glass. Donors, founders, legacies. None of them knew who I was 5 years ago. Now none of them would forget. At 1:50 p.m., my parents arrived. I know because I saw them through the glass. They stopped just inside the doors, scanning the room like tourists in the wrong building. My father whispered something. My mother's jaw tensed. Then she saw the banner. Keynote speaker, Lauren Marin, founder, Bridgeworks. They didn't take their seats. They just stood there, stuck between recognition and recoil. The chancellor nodded to me at 2 o'clock sharp. I walked to the podium. This time, no one else was credited. No one else took the mic. And I didn't mention them, not once, because this wasn't a confrontation. It was a correction. 2 ceremonies, same campus, same day. But only one of them mattered to me. My brother's ceremony was loud. Cheering families, confetti cannons, plastic chairs in the sun. Mine was silent, air-conditioned, high ceilings, velvet-lined chairs and cameras on silent tripods. The kind of ceremony where names aren't shouted, they're inscribed. From the podium, I could see everything. Rows of guests, university trustees, adult learners who'd taken the slow road here. And in the very back, standing just inside the marble archway, were my parents. They hadn't taken their seats. They stood frozen beneath the university seal. My mother's hand clutched the strap of her bag. My father's expression was unreadable, somewhere between disbelief and guilt. I didn't look long, just long enough for it to register. They weren't in control anymore. I began the speech simply. Some people arrive here with fanfare. Others arrive late, and some were never supposed to arrive at all. This degree isn't about the path I took. It's about what happened when the original one was blocked, deliberately. Heads lifted. Silence deepened. Even the air stilled. I never said their names. I didn't need to. I was told, repeatedly, that I could wait. That someone else's potential mattered more, that what I built on my own time wasn't real, that progress could only be validated if it came in the form they approved. I disagreed, quietly, consistently, and then, eventually, publicly. I turned to the adult learners seated near the stage. Some of you gave up comfort, others gave up applause, all of you gave up time. But the truth is, there's no such thing as late. There's only stolen time, and the decision to take it back. Someone exhaled audibly. A woman in the second row nodded, her eyes glassy. I ended with this. I used to think success was a destination. Now I know it's a reclamation. I never needed a ride. I needed the keys. Applause, not explosive, not performative, earned. I stepped down without looking at my parents again. But as I passed the archway, I saw my brother. He'd found them in the crowd, his tassel still dangling over one eye. Confused, watching me walk past with a robe heavier than his. He opened his mouth to say something. I kept walking. I left the rotunda without speaking to anyone I didn't choose. The press wanted photos. One outlet asked for a quote. I gave them exactly 6 words. Education should never require forgiveness first. They printed it beneath a photo of me walking alone down the steps. No cap, no gown, just steel gray slacks and a blank expression. That image made the homepage of 3 education blogs within 24 hours. That evening, my phone buzzed with messages. A former professor, a woman I'd once mentored, an adult student who said, "I'm still crying. You said what I never could." And then, a message from my brother. "Wait, that was you today?" He followed it with a voice memo. I didn't play it, I just deleted it. An hour later, another came in. From my father. "You should have told us you'd be speaking. We would have made time to support you." The absurdity of that sentence sat on my screen like a dare. They would have made time. But when they took my car, they didn't ask. When they funded someone else's future with my effort, they didn't blink. When they realized I'd built something on my own, without their framing, they felt entitled to inclusion. My final message went out that night, posted publicly. No tag, no shade, just clarity. Don't invite people to your celebration if they edited your struggle without consent. It got shared, quoted, paraphrased into captions. I turned my phone face down and let the silence return. At midnight, I walked outside, sat in the driver's seat of the car I bought with my second income stream, leather interior, quiet engine, my own name on the insurance, not borrowed, not co-signed, not compromised. I backed out of the driveway without looking in the mirror. They wanted a ride. I gave them a destination instead, irrelevance. I didn't block their numbers. I didn't change my email. I didn't move away. I just stopped answering. That was enough. 2 days after the ceremony, my mother sent a message. I know we made mistakes, but you've gone too far. As if silence was cruelty. As if not inviting them to what they erased was an attack. As if my absence from their version of the story violated a contract I never signed. I didn't respond. Because some chapters end with punctuation, others with a locked door. My brother sent another voice memo. This one started with a breath. If I'd known about the car, about the scholarship, maybe I would have said something, but I didn't ask. I just thought, things worked out. He paused. I guess they did. Just not for me. Then silence. I didn't respond to him either, because sometimes the most honest answer is stillness. Let him sit in it. Let him replay every moment of undeserved celebration. Every time he said, I earned this. I spent the rest of that week doing nothing exceptional. I cleaned the apartment, picked up groceries, walked 3 miles in the morning before work. I spoke to my staff, checked analytics, approved 2 new grant recipients, both single mothers. Both had once dropped out to care for younger siblings. Their stories came with no bitterness, just resolve. And I recognized them immediately. At the end of the week, I pulled a box from the top of my closet. Inside, the original paperwork for the Civic. Title: Maintenance records. A photo of me, age 18, holding up the keys, smiling. Back when I still thought ownership was about paperwork, I slid the photo into an envelope, wrote nothing, and mailed it to the house I no longer visited. No return address. Some things are worth keeping, some are worth sending back, and some are best left delivered without explanation. I never bought another Civic. The new car didn't mean status, it meant choice. A quiet engine, black leather, no bumper stickers, no shared keys. I drove it alone, always. One Saturday afternoon, I found myself a few blocks from the house I grew up in. I hadn't planned to drive by. It just happened, one of those default turns your body makes before your mind catches up. The lawn looked the same, so did the curtains. My mother's hydrangeas were blooming. The mailbox was still tilted slightly, leaning left. My father never did fix that. I slowed for a second, just enough to glance once. Then I kept going. I had somewhere else to be. A speaking engagement, this time at a community college in the next city over. They were launching a second chance enrollment initiative based on the Bridgeworks model. They'd asked me to speak to students who never thought they'd return to school, students who were told no and who showed up anyway. After the talk, a girl approached me, maybe 19, maybe younger. She asked, "How did you stay calm when they took it?" I didn't need to ask what it was. I told her the truth. I didn't stay calm, I just got quiet. Then I got good. Then I got gone. She nodded like she'd already started that journey. I handed her a copy of our grant application. "If you're ever ready," I said, "you won't need to ask for permission." That night, I drove home with the windows down. No music, just the sound of the road, the engine, the small weight of keys in my palm. I passed the block again, faster this time, no hesitation. And in the rearview mirror, I saw it clearly. The house that took what it needed, and the woman who never went back. They sold my car. So I built the road. And I made sure, this time, I was the one driving.